I'm introducing the Merak HESS. HESS stands for High Frequency Energy Storage System. The difference is the topology of the inverter. So being high frequency, it means it's not transformer based, it means it's using high frequency chopping. What this does is that gives us more inverter capacity and more surge capacity, and it also means it weighs significantly less. So this probably weighs about 10 kilograms. This product is constructed using a 12 kilowatt inverter and a 16 kilowatt hour battery. The battery is a 16S 1P 314 amp hour battery to give us 16 kilowatt hours, which does 8,000 cycles to 0% depth of discharge. And typically these batteries test well over capacity. So if it's a 314, it almost always does 320 amp hours or something like that. On the side here, we've got all the connections. So up the top here, there's, I'll try and keep that open. There's two PV connections, so two trackers, MPPT1, MPPT2. There's a 2-pole circuit breaker for the AC input, and then there's the AC output connection and the AC input connection, being a generator in this case. So this is an off-grid system and is indoor rated, so it's not suitable for outdoor use. Under the next cover is where you've got some communications. So you've got the internet Wi-Fi logger, communications to the battery BMS, and the battery power connections. And then under the next cover is the battery side. So that'll have the on-off switch for the BMS, little LEDs for state of charge, communications, and your battery connections. Each of those connections is rated for 250 amps, and you'll see when we do the discharge test that it very genuinely does 250 amps. At the moment, we're doing a discharge test. So we've got 12 kilowatts of load on it from a resistive load bank, and you can see here we've got 253 amps on the battery side. It's been doing this for probably 10 minutes now, very consistently. It doesn't seem to overload, it doesn't seem to trip. You can see we're at 25% SOC. We started at 33, so we've used 8 so far. You can see our battery voltage, our AC voltage. And that's 49.4 amps on the AC side, so very high AC output, more than enough to run a small house or a small farm operation or something like that. Up here we've got a very basic phone application that comes with this. It updates approximately every 5 minutes, so at the moment it hasn't updated, but that also could be our internet connection here. And it just shows you the battery state of charge, the solar production, and the consumption of a load. And that also gives you, daily, weekly, monthly monitoring and reporting, so you can go back and look at your history. So assembling this inverter and battery system, down the bottom on both sides, there's a closed end thread, so you can wind handles in to lift the battery. And so the way this is assembled is you place the battery in place first, and then the inverter sits on top, and on both sides there's two M8 fastenings, there and there, and the same on this side. And then there's two small brackets that go here to attach it back to the wall to stop any risk of it falling over. Once it's assembled, there's the two large battery connections and the communications connection, the little USB Wi-Fi data logger, and then it's as easy as turning on the battery and switching on the inverter over here. On the battery, the address switches are left all in the off position unless you stack more batteries with it. Assembling this HESS or BESS battery energy storage system, the battery gets placed first. There's two M10 threads, one on each side to fit handles to place it. Once it's in place, the inverter goes on the top, and there's an M8 fastening front and back on both sides. And then you've got your high current DC connections and your communications cable between the battery and the inverter. And that's all you need to get it going. You then turn the battery on, which is there. The BMS lights up to indicate that it's starting. And then up here, you've got the on-off switch for the inverter. That's all that's required to start it. Under here, further to that, there's a USB Wi-Fi logger, and all your AC connections are up in here. After unpacking, assembling the battery is the base and the inverter is the top, and your M8 fastenings on both sides. There's a wall mount bracket that goes up the top here, 2 threaded inserts, and then you mount back to the wall to stop it falling over.